Hello, my name is Connor Lewis, and I'm a second year Master of Athletic Training student at OSU. For my research project, I did a critically appraised topic on the effect of vitamin D supplementation on serum 25 hydroxyvitamin D and its effect on stress fractures in high risk physically active adults. For the sake of this research, I defined physically active adults as college athletes and military recruits. I have personal experience with both, being in athletic training, but I've with my clinical experience with the military recruits in the Army, I found that a lot of the ones I did see had stress fractures. Stress fractures account for around 10 to 20% of all injuries in sports medicine, and with respect to uh, military recruits and track and field athletes specifically, they can account for up to 21 and 64% of all injuries for those respective populations. A little bit physiologically, stress fractures are overuse injuries, just as a tendinitis is of some kind. And it's a result of heavy training that is often very repetitive, which is certainly the case for military training. That is the same thing every day for around 20 weeks, at least for the Army. The bone is trying to remodel itself to adapt to the stresses to become stronger, but that process also weakens the bone, leading to microfractures that eventually will turn into stress fractures if the activity does not cease. If the activity still continues, there is the possibility that it does turn into a full-on fracture, which can present an even more larger financial time cost. That resulting time and financial cost has led to research by military and athletic researchers in an attempt to reduce the rate of stress fractures in those populations. So for the search criteria, I use stress fracture supplementation vitamin D 25-OHD, which is the acronym for 25 hydroxyvitamin D in the serum, the vitamin D in the blood. Athletes and military, I looked at PubMed, Google Scholar, Clinical Key, Science Direct, and EBSCOhost. The main inclusion criteria that I looked at, one of the most recent research I looked at within 10 years, and they had to use vitamin D as the intervention. So a lot of studies just look at serum. They don't use vitamin D. They just look at the effect of the serum levels in the blood and their associated stress factors. I was interested in the effect of the supplementation. Main inclusion criteria, I wasn't interested in other ways to prevent stress fractures such as shoe wear, running mechanics, other biomechanics, nutrition, although nutrition has a big part in vitamin D and calcium. So both of these studies had a level of evidence of 2, according to the 2011 OCEBM levels of evidence, and I assessed their strength of recommendation through SORT. Of the 2 studies reviewed, only one study by Williams et al. Found a significant reduction in stress fracture rate in their current group compared to retrospective data. However, because that was retrospective data, there was no controlling for the vitamin D status of those people. It was just data that was collected over the previous seasons that could be used at any time. That had nothing to do with vitamin D research. But they still did find this reduction, so that is an important part. The other study by Millward did not find a direct and significant association, but they did find that those with low vitamin D levels prior to supplementation had a 12% higher risk of stress fractures compared to those who improved their levels above the threshold, which was set at 40 nanograms per milliliter, and those who maintained normal levels. So if you just kept your levels low, your stress fracture rate was 12% higher than everyone else. So based on the appraised articles and in conjunction with supporting documentation and literature, there is moderate evidence in support of the use of supplemental vitamin D in those high-risk populations. It's a very easy, cost-effective way to prevent stress fractures, although I think there should be more looked into for nutrition. So this revealed an obvious need for new research on the relationship between the two, and so it can be the most recent, up to date as it possibly can. So thank you.